Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be episode 238 for you guys today. And to kick off this week's episode, I'll be sharing my NFL Week 15 game summaries of the biggest games and the biggest headlines and news that stood out to me during Week 15 of the NFL season. So we'll start off with Thursday Night Football, where you had the Atlanta Falcons defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by a score of 29-28. Now, this was a really close and competitive game out there in the NFC South Division between the Atlanta Falcons and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Falcons pulled off the big upset on the road with their backup quarterback, Kirk Cousins, and he played very well getting the start Thursday night on the road against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No Drake London at the wide receiver position, no problem for the Atlanta Falcons because Kyle Pitts at the tight end position had his best game of his NFL career up to this particular point. He had 11 catches for 166 receiving yards, 3 receiving touchdowns. And honestly, not only was that Kyle Pitts' best game, but just for one night only, no disrespect to these legends, but it looked like the chemistry that Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts had out there was a little similar to what John Elway and Shannon Sharpe had back in the 90s. No disrespect to those legends. It was just a one-night only thing. But that's how good the connection between Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts looked Thursday night on the road against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they got an impressive victory on the road, now improved their record to 5-9. But if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, I know you got to be asking yourself, what the hell has happened? This team started off the season 4-1. Now they find themselves at 7-7 in a tight race in the NFC South between themselves and the Carolina Panthers. And with the Bucs and the Panthers having to match up two out of 3 times to end the season, Week 18 could come down to who wins the NFC South between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. So if you're the Bucs, you better start some soul searching because you can't afford to drop 2 out of the 3 games against the Carolina Panthers or lose your final 2 out of 3 games. So definitely needs to be some change in the locker room and in the game planning for the Bucs. Let's move on to the Sunday slate of games. You had the Buffalo Bills defeat the New England Patriots by a score of 35-31. Ooh. Now, this was one of my favorite games from Week 15, an AFC East battle between the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills were the ones to end the New England Patriots' 10-game winning streak. Now, cupcake schedule or not, you winning 10 games in a row at the NFL level is impressive for any NFL team. So let's give the Patriots a credit there. But the Buffalo Bills ended their 10-game winning streak, winning that game on the road. And it looked like the Patriots were going to put this game to bed early when they jumped out to a 21-0 lead in the first half of this ball game against the Buffalo Bills. But then it was Josh Allen putting on that Superman cape, being the superhero that he's been for the Buffalo Bills all year long. And for previous years, he went out there and balled out and overcame a 21-0 deficit, had 3 passing touchdowns. They got the running game going with James Cook. He scored twice, scoring 2 rushing touchdowns. Now, this was the marquee win the Buffalo Bills needed this season because a few weeks ago, I'm on the record for saying I didn't know if the Buffalo Bills were contenders or pretenders, and I didn't know who the hell they are. Well, now I do know that the Buffalo Bills are here. The month of December is here, and we're right around the corner for the playoffs. This was a marquee victory to prove to me that the Buffalo Bills can be contenders in the AFC this year because now they have overcome double-digit deficits several times this year. They show they could compete in tight ball games, overcome big margins, and they know how to blow their opponents out. So I'm really impressed of how the Buffalo Bills and company overcame this deficit and won a statement divisional game in the AFC East between themselves and the New England Patriots. And looking at the race, guys, it's not over yet in this division. I mean, we still got time to go. The Bills are trailing by 1 game at 10-4, and the New England Patriots are 11-3. So let's see what happens in this division race between the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. Next game. The Ravens having an impressive shutout victory against the Cincinnati Bengals, winning that game 24-0. Shutout victory, impressive road victory for the Baltimore Ravens, matching up against their AFC North rival in the Cincinnati Bengals. This was their revenge game for what happened Thanksgiving with Joe Burrow and company. Not only came to Baltimore one Thanksgiving night, but even disrespected the Maryland Crab Thursday night when they matched up Thanksgiving. But Lamar Jackson only had 8 completions in this game, but still threw 2 passing touchdowns. Realistically, should have had 3 passing touchdowns. If Zay Flowers caught that ball in the back of the end zone, he would have had 3 passing touchdowns in this game. But if you're a Ravens fan, you'll take it. The defense played well. They had the Kyle Van Noy interception, but then he pitched it to Gilman for the touchdown. Marlon Humphrey got an interception off of the drop pass that Jamar Chase had. So the Ravens were getting turnovers. They were getting home to Joe Burrow. They had him under duress and made him feel uncomfortable in the pocket because they sacked him 3 times and he got 2 turnovers off of Joe Burrow. So this helps the Ravens' case to still stay in the race to steal the AFC North for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Steelers won Monday night in dominating fashion against the Dolphins, but the Ravens still got to do their job. They got to win out to win this division possibly. They got to beat the New England Patriots Sunday night at M&T Bank Stadium. They got to go on the road to beat the Packers at Lambeau Field. Then they got to handle business against the Pittsburgh Steelers Week 18 in Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens in that division. Shout out to Trevor Lawrence having 6 total touchdowns to defeat the New York Jets in dominating fashion. It seems like Liam Cohen has fixed the mechanics of Trevor Lawrence. This is the best we see in Trevor Lawrence as they are sitting pretty with first place in the AFC South. They keep this up, they will not only make the playoffs but win the AFC South. So I want to give Trevor Lawrence his credit for his impressive performance that he had against the New York Jets, not the New England Patriots, the New York Jets. This one I do want to address. Thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs missing the postseason? I felt like the league was in shock. I honestly felt like the league was in shock, like it was a lost cause that the Kansas City Chiefs missed the playoffs. Not only did I feel like the league was in shock that the Kansas City Chiefs missed the postseason, but I felt like it was just breaking news throughout the entire landscape of the NFL. Like, hey, the dominant kings of the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs, will not be in the postseason. And I said it last week. I knew they were in danger of missing the postseason. They are currently 6-8, third place in the AFC West, and they were not in contention to make the playoffs because so many teams that's in the dance right now in the AFC playoffs, like the Jaguars, the Texans. Let's look at the rest of the Chargers and the Bills. They lost all those games, so they didn't own tiebreakers over those respective teams that I just mentioned. And nobody fears the Kansas City Chiefs anymore, guys, on both sides of the ball. Offensively, nobody fears Patrick Mahomes and this Kansas City Chiefs offense. Defensively, nobody fears this Kansas City Chiefs defense anymore. And I just feel like this honestly might be the end of the dynasty. This might be it. Based off of how the AFC West is going to be from here on out, the Denver Broncos aren't going anywhere, led by Sean Payton and Bo Nix and that stellar defense. The Los Angeles Chargers ain't going anywhere with Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, and that stellar defense, and they can run the football, etc. I just feel like the Kansas City Chiefs got so many holes to fix this offseason. They got to improve their offensive line. They possibly got to find a replacement for Travis Kelce, who is playing on an expiring contract in his late 30s, most likely will retire this NFL offseason. In my opinion, they got to find another running back because the 1-2 punch of Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt is not effective in the backfield. And I just feel like this Patrick Mahomes ACL, LCL tear could set him back. I don't know if he could be the same player or not. Time will tell, and I want him to be. But when you have to have these realistic conversations about the future of the Kansas City Chiefs. And now it seems like a change of the guard is happening in the NFL because they have been a part of every AFC championship game since 2018. They have won 3 Super Bowls since 2018. They played in 5 of them since 2018. Like, this honestly feels like the end for the Kansas City Chiefs as we speak right now. Gotta call a spade a spade. My thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs missing the playoffs. Oh, next game, you had the Rams defeat the Detroit Lions by a score of 41-34. Now, this was a great matchup. And honestly, from a football fan standpoint, my fingers are crossed to see the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions match up against each other in the NFC Championship this year. Because not only do they have great quarterbacks, but they got great offensive talent on both sides of the ball. And in this game Sunday, you had two top 5 offenses battling against each other in the Rams and the Lions. And there was over 500 total yards of offense in the first half of this game. So that tells you how special both teams are offensively on both sides of the ball. But the Rams did overcome a 24-14 deficit, which was impressive to me. Matthew Stafford was cooking against his former team. It was barbecue chicken alert out there for him, because not only could the secondary not keep up with Puka Nacua and other receiving options for the Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford was putting it on him. He had 368 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and they found success running the ball with their new 1-2 punch at the running back position of Kyren Williams and Blake Corum. Blake Corum's getting more reps. He looks more effective running the ball week in and week out when you watch the Los Angeles Rams offense play. But I will give credit to St. Brown as well. He had a good game for the Detroit Lions. Receiving, had 163 receiving yards and a touchdown. I just feel like the Lions ran out of time as this game went on. They could not keep up the pace with the Los Angeles Rams, and they ran out of time scoring wise. But I love to see this game in the NFC Championship. And honestly, my thoughts on Davante Adams with the hamstring injury, I hope it's not serious. I know it's day to day, week to week with this hamstring injury. Hopefully he could be healthy for the playoffs. And you might, if you're the Rams, you might be in a scenario where you just rest them for the final 3 games, so you could go on a run and possibly win it all again if they're the Los Angeles Rams for this NFL postseason. But a hell of a game between the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. Next game, you had the Denver Broncos defeat the Green Bay Packers by a score of 34-26. Now, this was a really good game between the Denver Broncos and the Green Bay Packers. The Broncos now extend their winning streak to 11 games, which is very impressive. They are hot as a forest fire, the longest winning streak currently in the NFL this NFL season. Bo Nix played stellar, 302 passing yards, 40 passing touchdowns. Broncos defense did a good job of having Jordan Love uncomfortable. They sacked him 3 times and forced him to throw 2 interceptions in this ball game. But if you're a Packers fan, life comes at you fast. Not only did you have a 9-point lead in this game, but in hostile territory on the road in Denver. But Christian Watson, their wide receiver, broke his collarbone in this game, and then my guy Micah Parsons unfortunately tore his ACL on a non-contact injury, which didn't look good. And I knew when I saw the injury, the unfortunate was about to happen for him. I feel so bad for the Packers. Like, it seems like every time they're heading into the right direction, something goes wrong. Just like last year when they were heading in the right direction to possibly be a Super Bowl contender, things went wrong. Now it's deja vu, but in a worse way with injuries. Right now they sit at 9 wins, 4 losses, 1 tie. And I just feel like them training for Micah, that was the home run piece they needed to win it all this year. Now without Micah for the rest of the year, now without Christian Watson, another wide receiver, another receiving target, I just feel like the Packers' chances of going on a deep run this year in the NFC playoffs, they just went up in smoke and in flames. Tough for the Packers. Thoughts on Philip Rivers' return? Philip Rivers looked a little decent for a 44-year-old quarterback being back out there for the first time playing since 2021. He knocked off the game rust as the game went on. Clearly slower in his dropbacks. Clearly slower a little bit in his reprogressions. You've seen a little gut action out there for the 44-year-old quarterback of Philip Rivers. He's still accurate, but the arm strength doesn't look like it's there anymore. I mean, Father Time catches up with every athlete and every person on this earth. But he nearly won the game on the road against the Seattle Seahawks. And nearly had a game-winning drive against the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see how Philip Rivers looks Monday night against a really good defense of the San Francisco 49ers. That will really determine to me if Philip Rivers still has it or not. But decent return in his first NFL start since 2021. And to close out the segment, the Minnesota Vikings defeated the Dallas Cowboys by a score of 34-26 on Sunday Night Football. Honestly, watching this game between the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings, it just seemed like the Minnesota Vikings wanted to win more, and they outplayed the Cowboys. Kevin O'Connell had a good game plan for J.J. McCarthy in his 8th career start. I mean, J.J. McCarthy was going through his read progressions well. He was passing the football well, had success running the football when needed. And it seemed like this was the first time that I seen JJ McCarthy play that the NFL game finally slowed down for him. He had one hell of a game. Hell, this was his best game of being an NFL starter thus far. He took full control of the Minnesota Vikings offense and dominated the Dallas Cowboys defense. I mean, he had over 230 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and the beautiful fake rushing touchdown to score for the Minnesota Vikings with that ugly gritty that he hit in the end zone in Dallas. I was impressed. Other than that interception they threw in his first drive of the game, he really slowed down after that and balled out against the Dallas Cowboys. I gotta give 9 credit. Brian Flores, their defensive coordinator, came to do his job. The defense played well, getting pressure on Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott could not react well to the blitz and handle the pressure as the game went on, and some of that goes to the offensive line, but Brian Flores deserves a lot of credit for the defensive game plan that he had for Dak Prescott in this game. They got the crucial stops, and they stopped the Dallas Cowboys from scoring touchdowns when needed. And the thing is, when I was watching this game, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys made too many mistakes in this game. Not only did they make too many mistakes, but Brian Schottenheimer trusting Brandon Aubrey for those 50-yard field goal kicks and spots was 2 crucial points in the game for us, because the 2 missed field goals happened, and then putting trust in the defense is not helping the Dallas Cowboys in this favor. And we have given up 30 points 7 to 8 different times in ball games this year. The only other teams that do it are the Las Vegas Raiders and the Cincinnati Bengals. But I just don't understand, if you're Matt Eberflus, you coached against the NFC North for years. For years. And all of your former NFC North rivals and opponents, that we went 0-3-1 against them, and we have given up an average of 37 points or more against his former divisional rivals. Now the Dallas Cowboys are 6-7-1 and only have a 1% chance of making the playoffs. It sucks, but here we are if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. But that is my NFL Week 15 game summary of the biggest games, the biggest highlights, and the biggest news that transpired during the week.